He and I have to definitely debate. That's what I love.
My brain is still in recovery mode from taking in so many high-level important ideas.
Hello, humans! Welcome back to Audioface, a podcast about music news and culture that mostly matters. I am Sean.
I'm Dan.
And welcome back. This is episode 316. We've had some hiatus for labor dispute reasons because, you know, I'm trying to nationalize Audioface. And he literally broke our power grid in fucking Southern California. So there was that.
The negotiations were going so strong that,
yes.
and they were so heated that we broke records in downtown Los Angeles.
The humble proletariat will disregard his chains.
Well, they'll disregard the electricity bill, but yeah. Nevertheless, we've reached our negotiation point, and it is literally 35 degrees cooler, 40 degrees cooler, maybe. So we are back. There was, it's interesting, the albums that are kind of coming out, the cadence of albums, the kind of state of the music industry. It's kind of had us thinking about, the format of the show. So more on that in the future. But there were a lot of albums that we will kind of get to that, were released over, not necessarily the most like weekly, but there will definitely be recent. They will all fall within like what has happened this year or, like within the last Audioface reviewing period. And if we haven't gotten to something immediately, definitely comment and let it know. The squeaky wheel gets the Larry June, as you've already seen. And so we will get to some of those, as well as some of the amazing upcoming releases that we have to expect from the fall of this year that we'll be talking about in the quick hit segment. We have some news that we'll be talking about as well. We have 4 albums in that vein to talk about. We packed and cracked this. Go ahead. I'm taking over hosting duties on accident.
So we have 4 albums that we're reviewing. Dude, when's the last time we did a 4 albumer? It's been a minute. But
it's been a minute, but it's also been an extended amount of time, 2-3 weeks since we've done the show. So it's
yeah, exactly. So it's worthy of our time. But albums, we got Short and Sweet by Sabrina Carpenter. Oh my god, I shone that was great. We got Whole Earth by Toro, spelled ERTH. I hate you hipsters. Dayglow by Dayglow, self-titled. And Cascade by Floating Points.
Nothing really to say about that. That's just an album name.
that's just names.
that is just how you name an album.
That's it. We got a lot of good stories too. We got Debauchery Corner. We got lots of stuff. 2024 is insane. Also, just gotta say, sorry we were late because we were just like, in addition to producing an extra long show and kind of getting back to the crack of things, we're making extended jokes about the state of the 2024 election race. With the arbitrary scale actually has nothing to do with that. You will be amazed. There's just a nice find I found on X, the Pogrom app, and this ended up being like a nicer sort of memory of right-wing times past. But we have
you know, the restarting. Oh yeah, so the thing we were talking about was JD Vance is doing so badly for Donald Trump that he might just like test out his Fifth Avenue theory, and it's like old Yeller him. Like you can imagine JD Vance just like standing on Fifth Avenue going like, and you know what? The issue I have with being called a PDF file is, first of all, there's a FIBA file, which is totally different, and it is much more accurate. And then Donald Trump was just like, it's just like all JD Vance hears. It's just like silence. The ending of The Sopranos.
Just
Don't stop.
Stop. Tony Soprano dies.
Maybe spoilers. It's very open to interpretation how that show from 20 years
20 years ago. Spoilers, my ass.
Oh, I gotta get that as a sound drop.
You. That's a good one. Yeah, you have to have Polly Walnuts going. Oh, like you need a good one too.
No, you need the entire bada bing, like going, oh, like reacting to one thing.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
There's one of those. Anyways, speaking of those kind of moments, Sean, cue me.
Oh, Lord Jesus, are you ready for some more Kendrick? Are you ready for some football?
If not, too bad.
Because we get Super Bowl Kendrick. So,
but the announcement of the Super Bowl, of Kendrick being in the Super Bowl, and a surprise single that he released only on Instagram, 616 in LA style, has us asking, are we kind of in a Cold War period of the rap beef?
Rap beef, nigga! Punk ass, Jerry Toro, nigga, big nigga. Stomp him in the nuts, I'ma stomp him in the nuts. Stomp him in the nuts, I'ma stomp him in the nuts.
Cold War for what? Rap beef? Holy shit! What's the space race for rap beef? What's that gonna look like?
Albums.
Yeah, fair play. Fair play.
So yeah, like you said, it was you know, I was watching an FD Signified video about this earlier today, actually. And he was pointing out, he's been really fair to point out, like, you know, even though Kendrick is the more sympathetic person in this rap beef for a lot of different reasons, and what he's saying is valid for a lot of different reasons. Let's be clear that, much like Kendrick has said himself, he's not a savior. If Drake had any sort of talents, he'd be able to go for, okay, you're a little bit hypocritical, Kendrick. You're a little bit of a Hotep, Kendrick. You're a Hebrew Israelite. Sorry, a Hebrew national. Sorry, not to do a Jimmy Dore thing. But yeah, he has this like black Israelite sort of like string in him as well. That's sort of interesting. I think a Jewish Canadian rapper could have an interesting spin on that if he didn't already say that he tries to rap to get the slaves free. But that video itself, he's standing in front of an American flag, and it's like, okay, Kendrick, is it we gonna be all right, Kendrick? Is it, you know, like we gotta burn down the whole system, Kendrick, which we'll get to in a moment? Or, you know, is it that dichotomy of you're working for the Jigga Man now? Because, you know, Jay-Z is the entertainment, like the sort of capitulation that the NFL did, for folks who don't remember, for the Colin Kaepernick kneeling debacle.
Fiasco 8 years ago.
Or something like that, where Colin Kaepernick was kneeling to protest police brutality. Pick a name, any name, honestly, at that point, of someone who had suffered or died under police custody due to like abusive force, frankly. And Colin Kaepernick would kneel during the national anthem. He had done that after consulting with like military officials and veterans and all these other different things on like how to best do this sort of protest and stay true to himself. He had the whole afro and everything, and he was blackballed by the NFL. Right wingers, all of a sudden, you know, Ben Shapiro acted like he knew a lot about football. And he was like, well, Colin Kaepernick was never even like a good quarterback, whatever. I know nothing about football, but apparently he was like totally fine. He was ready to go and had like a couple like day contracts or whatever. But yeah, it was essentially blackballed. And the NFL sort of like capitulation response was, okay, Jay-Z produces the halftime shows. I wish I was kidding. That wasn't even the long setup for a joke, but like the NFL's response, this like major, very public, you know, like public protest. Breaking news. A lot of football players are black. So, it's very relevant. A lot of the viewers of football are black. It's a lot of, like, it's just, it affects a lot of people. And so the NFL's response was, okay, we'll give Jay-Z the halftime show. Like King Capitalist 444 Jay-Z. It's like, okay, whatever. So yeah, he's doing that. He's like launching the footballs with the little machine. And I think some of the more notable pieces on this are like the number of footballs he launches coordinates the number of songs he released over from Like That all the way to Not Like Us. And he says no round twos, which is like a very subtle like allusion to. That's what I'm saying. Like Drake has been doing this 100 gigs release where you've seen these little leaks here and there about Kendrick Lamar like trying to collaborate with some folks, and Kendrick Lamar potentially collaborating with Drake rather, and it's all kind of flopped. Like none of the songs have really like hit or charted that well. It's a pretty competitive year, especially in like non-rap genres, and rap just like not really like hitting it right now. But Drake singing, Drake acting tough, it's just like none of the stuff was really hitting or doing really well. There's supposed to be a Drake Party Next Door album coming out. Usually Drake honestly releases an album in the summer. I'm kind of surprised that we are days away from the fall at time of recording officially, and we have no actual Drake project this year. It's like Kendrick really put the Pokemon stun move on the man. Like it's kind of funny. But besides like the subtle sort of like dig, there was this whole sort of outward drama surrounding it, right? Where the Super Bowl is going to be in New Orleans. That's like Lil Wayne's area. They felt that like he's been snubbed for the Super Bowl a bunch of times, and so people who have nothing better to do but create drama on Instagram, Nicki Minaj, they're all saying that like Lil Wayne was snubbed for that Super Bowl appearance, that it should have been him. Like it makes no sense for it to be Kendrick. And Sean, you had a really sort of like hot take that you want to share about that.
Lil Wayne's being a bitch. Yeah, it's like, dude, it's not that serious. First off, like my thing
crying.
Is,
he's actually in a video crying. Like he's like
actually like literally
upset. Like
yeah, like he's sitting there like he's Drake upset, like sitting
like,
there in the corner crying. Like, bro, you don't. First off, you haven't made hits in like a decade plus, really.
I remember the Carter 5, and that was like our first or second year of our Audioface, and he's done features, but no.
You need to be a mainstream hit artist, right? And Lil Wayne isn't like that big now as he was maybe 15 years ago. But even then, with 15 years ago, like what could he perform? Maybe 4 tracks or something, right? Like people aren't going to get excited about that as much as they are with. Right now, this is Kendrick's year, right? Like everybody knows Not Like Us, the whole Drake beef, all that shit. Like it's huge, it's exploded, right? And that's what you need to have to do the Super Bowl, is to have mainstream appeal. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the Super Bowl or anything. I don't think it's like that special of a gig to do. I think it's really lost its
Super Hand Egg Double Dash.
Yeah, I think it's lost its allure the past 15 years or so compared to like the 90s and shit. Michael Jackson did it. That shit, that was.
I was just watching some like Michael Jackson performing at like the VMAs. I'm just like, we used to be a country.
Yeah, exactly. We used to be a society. And now we let Elon Musk on the loose. So, yeah, and it's like, bro. Just because you're from somewhere doesn't mean like you are automatically like owed to do that place. Like, right? Like, example, just because Kendrick was from LA doesn't mean that when the Super Bowl was here a couple years ago and SoFi Stadium doesn't mean like he should headline the whole thing. They brought out like all of the fucking LA artists, like everyone, right?
Yeah. And like Kendrick, that wasn't a time, if I remember correctly.
That was 2021, so that was even before. That was in between record releases. So yeah. Was he even there? I don't remember.
I don't think so. Like, and I don't think he was, even for a cameo, and a lot of folks were. But like that was the Snoop Dogg crip walking NFL, right?
Yeah, exactly. It was, you know, yeah, it was Dre, bitch Dre, and everybody else. But that's a story for another day. That's for a future audio face. I can't wait. Yeah, it's like just because you're from somewhere doesn't mean you're owed it. And you're not a big enough artist now. And even when you're at your peak, it would have been a stretch then to get you. So it's not that big a deal, bro. Like, you've made some good music, you made some hits in the past and stuff. Like, your features are okay. Your last album was really bland and boring, and it's fine. Like, that's it, bro. You're old. That's it. That's how
Yeah,
it
the
works.
Carter 5 was just like, Lil Wayne is
It's
consistent.
fine.
Lil Wayne, but he was playing, the hits and doing his style of things that he had been doing for, dude's been rapping since he was like 9. I got a LimeWire leak, a loud download of Loud Pipes allegedly on a hard drive somewhere. Like we damn near grew up with this kid, right? But he hasn't really done anything dynamically in a while. And again, this isn't my analysis, but I think it's really smart that I was listening to someone else saying this, that people forget about the dynamics of the Super Bowl. I alluded to the whole like Jay-Z thing and the reason why, that's decision and where it sort of stands, right? And there's like going to be that sort of like tension between how radical a Kendrick Lamar Super Bowl, like Kendrick Lamar performing the Super Bowl in the most like capitalistic sort of enterprise thing possible. I think that's going to like really sort of like show those things aside, right? But the Super Bowl is not it's a business, not just like Jay-Z businessman like I was talking about. Like, you have to like put in a bid to be in the Super Bowl. That means you, like Usher last year, even if you haven't been that active, you have to, prove and be that you can like perform and like do that sort of like loud audience, be the arena level touring sort of audience very recently. And it's a marketing thing for you. You are paying for it. Like The Weeknd, I think, broke a record with that whole like mirrors thing that he did.
Yeah.
With like how expensive that was, because that was all a rollout for his projects, like the record label, all that stuff. Like, a lot of money is shaking hands. That's why I feel really confident in saying that like this Kendrick Lamar being at the Super Bowl is like a rollout to a new album, as if his, activity and willing to go like bar for bar with Drake to like prove that he's number one wasn't already an indication that he had something cooking as well and like wanted to get something off of his chest. All that is to say, like, Lil Wayne is not that guy right now.
Yeah, he's just that's it. Like, you're not that guy right now. Like, love you. You've made some good music throughout the years, but you're not that guy right now. That's it.
And Discount Seth Rogen says something that I'm just like, again, this is business. Everyone's going to react to Kendrick Lamar doing his thing. That's cool. Discount Seth Rogen says, I'm just hoping to hear a lighter flick than Wayne doing a song with Kendrick. Most likely.
Probably do Mona Lisa or something like that.
Yeah. If Lil Wayne didn't fall in the like Instagram academic sort of like drama and just like kept his mouth shut, I don't think his like chances are ruined. But it's still like a weirder sort of thing. I think it, not to be all like machismo about it, but it looks kind of bad for him that like he was like publicly crying and looking all like sad about it or whatever. And like that was all spreading through the blogs and all this like drama was done when he could have just handled it professionally. And there's a very decent chance that he comes out with Kendrick and performs, because it is New Orleans and it makes sense. I think Lil Wayne is a key part of rap history. We're going to talk very moment and side 2 about the music that Kendrick Lamar released on 9/11. This man is a sicko, all right? But like, there's a lot of reasons to believe that a big theme and motif that Kendrick Lamar is on right now is the art of rap music, and the purity of the art and what it really means to people. And Lil Wayne was name dropped by Kendrick as like one of the original people that Drake used, essentially. Like, jumped with him and like co-signed with him for clout, got the Lil Wayne co-sign, so he was able to like do the rapping stuff, and then did wrong by Lil Wayne musically, professionally, with his wife apparently, like as a friend in general. And there's good reason to believe that they're cool. Like, it's gonna be fine. But when you get people like Nicki Minaj and stuff like that, it's just sort of ridiculous. So I think people can calm down. I feel pretty confident. Like, I wouldn't put betting money on it on Polymarket or anything. More on that later. But I feel pretty good that Lil Wayne is going to be on like in the Super Bowl, and around the time of the Super Bowl, we will be able to marinate a little bit on a Kendrick Lamar album, which I'm excited to do. But yeah, 9/11, 6 p.m. Kendrick Lamar. I was taking a shower. It's just like all this. I always miss the moment it happens. Usually I'm napping, frankly. This time I was just taking a shower. And I come out, I check my phone. You would send something to our chat, and it was just like, oh, he dropped again. I was like, oh, fuck, not again. And this one's a slower, not quite like a Meet the Grams or a We Cry Together difficult thing to do, which, by the way, I love the idea that like Kendrick playing We Cry Together or Meet the Grams or some of those like Mother I Sober or those like
Sober,
really
like Auntie Diaries. Bro, just play Auntie Diaries at the Super Bowl. I'm so down.
I love a Scare in the Hose Super Bowl version of Kendrick Lamar that he could do.
Please.
Literally make
reality. We just get straight Scare in the Hose for the Super Bowl.
he doesn't bring out Lil Wayne, he brings out Eric Andre and Earl Sweatshirt.
I'm so down.
People start moshing. Like, it's just like, it would be very funny for me personally. Like 2024 would have a nice bow in it if like Kendrick Lamar made the vibes off, like just for the Super Bowl. Like everyone was just like, whew. Like if everyone felt like they had to just smoke a cigarette after watching that show, like they just like had to deep breaths. That would be great for me. But no, you're gonna get hits like that. This is a slower song, not like that off-putting, but you know, it feels like The Heart Part 6 if Drake hadn't have gotten his you know, drinking pea water, you know, whatever, out all over The Heart Part 6 is a name. Usually the hearts are these singles that precede Kendrick Lamar albums that kind of tell you where Kendrick Lamar's at, kind of tell you like what he's thinking, a lot of times about the state of rap in general, but usually about how he's approaching music at that time. Not necessarily, you know, somewhat necessarily through the production of how it is. Because I think The Heart Part 5 definitely gave you a little bit of the hints of how Mr. Morale ended up sounding. But yeah, it's, what'd you think of it? I was just like, well,
yeah, it's not a bad single. It's just slower. Here's what I'm forgetting. It's like
the album cover is black Air Force Ones, which if you know, you know. It's one of those things where like if you grow up in a certain neighborhood and you see someone with dirtied up black Air Force,
you
if
know
they're new and shiny, it doesn't count.
No, but if they're beat up, blacked out, you know, you can get some good stuff from them. That's all I'm saying.
Or yeah, they're a dealer or they're a killer.
Like, one of the two. Yeah, they're a dealer or they're fucking Kia boys.
Definitely do not fight with them. Is what I'm saying. Like Black Air Force is like Black Air Force is like the official shoe of a crazy person.
Love it. Speaking of a crazy person, we have Jesus Christ, we have Taylor Swift by A$AP Rocky. That was an music video. Not a music video, it was an music video.
And a music video, yes.
That was probably the wildest music video I've seen on Audioface. It was shot in Ukraine before the war, so, you know.
It's been a minute since we've seen a music video like that, and it's also been a minute since we've heard, you know, proper music from A$AP Rocky.
It's been a minute, yeah.
Yeah, I like this
actually really like
sound. I really like the single. I really like the sound from him. It's a very sort of, you know, it's interesting. A$AP Rocky is on kind of the older side of this like generation of rappers, and he's like fully entering his dad era, right? And so he's still doing the trap sound. It's not like he's completely slowed down his thing for 444, but you know, the delivery, you know, A$AP Rocky's delivery was already very calm and comfortable and kind of nonchalant. It feels even more so. And you know, the delivery when he's, you know, holding camera attention and ducking and getting into push-up position while a Soviet era car just like launches over him and like a rocket is just like launching in the, like 5 blocks away in the background. There's like apartment block and someone's unicycling backwards. Like it's just it is a mind trip.
in the way that's like, it's not, the Travis Scott early 2010s like acid sort of like glitchy thing. It's just like, oh, that dude's got a visible gun that he's hiding in his pants, but like the gun is larger than him. It's just like it's Dadaist. It's very absurd. It's very funny, and I like that sort of calm approach because rap. It took a while for rap to really get comfortable with being silly, and for someone at the mainstream level just like do that and have that sense of humor. And it's nice to see A$AP Rocky do that.
Yeah, I think it's a good single. It's been a while since we've had a project from him, so I mean,
hopefully one comes soon.
Yeah, because you had what the last was maybe 2018, 2019 around. Yeah, Testing.
Really? Testing was the last one.
I think that Testing was the last one. That was a
Praise the Lord and Break the Law. No, we had Floor Seats. No, that's A$AP Ferg. Sorry.
So that's A$AP Ferg. That's not A$AP Rocky. You're getting A$AP's mixed up. It's
remember
there's how many named Baby.
Remember when Donald Trump was like, "We'll get you back ASAP." God, we lived in hell. Okay, so yes, check out if you're watching the stream live, or later, like it. Go to audioface.show for all the different things. I googled Audioface and we like pull up number 1, and it's like perfect, and it's like wow, we exist. We've been doing this.
Wow, finally, damn.
Because it used to be like Audioface was also like an audio engineering like business in England.
I hope they're Radiohead fans too.
They're like an AV thing. Yeah. It was very weird. So since I do search engine optimization for my day job, something that makes me want to put a gun in my mouth, that makes me happy. Anyways, go there to see all of our links and become a Syndicate 23 member at syndicate23.co to access the Syndicate 23 vault featuring all the episodes of Audioface we should not have public. Anyways.
Do you want to see because you know how Google does AI when you search shit?
Yes.
All right, so I googled Audioface, and the AI overview says there are multiple matches for Audioface, including an audio interface and a music podcast, as well as an AI-based tool for facial animation. And then it says for us, Audioface, a music podcast that discusses how music influences culture. The podcast is hosted by music critics and sometimes friends, Sean and Dan.
That rocks.
We can keep AI. AI can stay around. I like it now.
That's a good one.
That's so funny.
That's a good
so
one.
Fucking. I'm screenshot that. I saw that to a Chapo Poncho.
That's about right. Leave it. Yeah, that's about right. Okay. So crash out corner time. It appears that we have a situation. Well, life has come at Donald Trump so fast. He has the first debate with Joe Biden. It goes so badly that he drops out of the race. He gets shot at. He survives. He goes on after his convention. He feels unstoppable. Kamala Harris comes in, flips the script. We have the second debate that just happened last week. Power report for all of that stuff. #NoPolitics. But this recently, in between all of that, Donald Trump and his half-wit campaign were playing a lot with sorry, I was typing something. Like they were playing a lot with Taylor Swift and her likeness, and they were doing these AI things like guess who has sort of endorsed me. And there've always been these attempts by the right wing to align Taylor Swift, their blonde, blue-haired, like blonde-haired, blue-eyed princess. It's the blue hairs they don't like. It's the woke thing. But like the idealism of what they view as America, that's very Germany in the 1930s vibes. Or Southern Germany in 2024 vibes. But
let's get it right. East Germany in the 2020s.
Yeah. That being said, this kind of culminated, she hadn't really made a statement. Taylor Swift is a very curated experience.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift is a social experiment by MIT. It is now concluded. Thank you for your participation.
Brought to you by Capital One.
At the MetLife Center. No, so Taylor Swift did not really speak out, but immediately after the debate ends, she posts on Instagram a photo of her holding a cat, basically saying that she's done her research. She's decided that she wants to endorse Kamala Harris and encourage people to make their own decisions and get read on things and vote and register. In less than the first, within the first 24, 48 hours, 400,000 people had gone to that site to, figure out how to register to vote or, confirm their voting things, which I encourage people to do, because in a lot of places I'm hearing people are getting, purged off the voter rolls. So if you haven't received mail for voting in primaries, or you moved recently, make sure you re-register as soon as possible, because some of those deadlines are coming up really soon. But yeah, that endorsement sends Donald Trump and the Republicans into a frenzy. This morning, Donald Trump tweets, "I hate Taylor Swift." Kind of in response to that endorsement. She has said that, Taylor Swift is overrated. It doesn't matter. We covered on Power Report that JD Vance's, Donald Trump's vice president, his response was, well, I don't think the American people really care about what some billionaire celebrity has to say about their politics. I'm just like, JD Vance is my favorite Democrat of all time.
Oh my God, how stupid are you?
This is the Dave Rubin candidate. This is incredible.
Oh my God. Brain is in recovery mode for so many high point level ideas.
Remind me to send you that clip afterwards. He's gonna be like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Please. He really is gonna yell at him. He's gonna test his theory. He's just gonna do it, dude. You're gonna get Dick Cheney'd. Might get JFK'd.
I hope I can find it really quickly, because it's just fun for the whole family. But yeah, it's just very interesting that you'll see Donald Trump make that post that I hate Taylor Swift, and 5 hours later he has to duck more bullets again because he has another assassination attempt. I'm just saying, don't mess with the Swifties.
Don't mess with Swifties. I learned my lesson.
Yes, I have the video right
please.
here. Are you ready for some football?
Oh, let's go.
All right. This one.
How do you speak to women voters who obviously they care about what she thinks?
Of course. Well, look, we admire Taylor Swift's music, but I don't think most Americans, whether they like her music or fans of hers or not, are going to be influenced by a billionaire celebrity who I think is fundamentally disconnected from the interests
My favorite Democrat.
Oh my God. What a that's just levels of stupidity.
That's incredible.
Just levels of stupidity. Straight just
when Mr. Krabs hires Patrick to work at the Krusty Krab and goes, "Patrick, you're fired again." That's just Trump and JD Vance. That's just Trump and JD Vance every day. It's East? I thought it said West.
That's
it's
West Patrick.
You're fired again. Okay. So that's been going very well for him. As I've been calling, and more people are catching on to this yet again. It's almost like Mayor Pete has black friends all over again. Never forget, Trump's a crash out, and we're watching it in real time. And every single day, you just see the enthusiasm leave his body. It's just like, I don't want to fucking do this anymore. It used to be fun, and now it's just not fun. Do you remember when he used to be
He and I have to definitely debate. That's what I love.
And now he's like, no more debates. There's no point. I'm just gonna stop at 2. Usually there's 3, but I'm just gonna do 2. It's just no more. I won the last 2 debates so decisively. There's no point for me to do it anymore. It's just like, amen. Just really quickly, want to do a quick acknowledgements here on the
Audioface Death Corner.
The Death Corner. Rest in peace to 3 artists, because it's like I said, we're the old classic for those of you who have the bingo cards. Audioface, Before the Bodies Are Even Cold.
Never forget, man. That was a track record.
Was that Chester Bennington?
Oh yeah, it was. I remember I had to like
more on that later.
Oh, so actually more on that later. Who's that? What?
Full circle. There's pictures from the USSR where you just delete people. It is like, who you're talking about? Never there. Google Pixel Magic Erase.
Go to Audioface show to reveal the faces.
Musicians have died. Frankie Beverly from Maze, the soul funk group.
Mm-hmm.
Rich Homie Quan, which was a really sad one, out of Atlanta.
Lifestyle. Oh yeah. Hit of 2014 right there.
And of course, Fat Man Scoop.
Wow.
Put your hands up. Yeah, like just an iconic sort of like
man.
That's what DJ Khaled wishes he was, is Fat Man Scoop, honestly.
I just like Fat Man Scoop cameo on the Boondocks.
I just remember listening to I remember listening to Fat Man Scoop on the radio, just like, on the way to school and shit, like in the mornings, because that's an institution right there. So rest in peace to all of them, and in the most respective way we can do this on Audioface.
Sometimes you just gotta send it out.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta rack them. Anyways, first album review.
All right, first album review of the day, Serving Up Gary's Way. We're like 40 minutes in this bitch, and we finally get to the albums. That's what I said, the Audioface experience. We got Short and Sweet by Sabrina Carpenter. It is 12 songs, 36 minutes long. Finally getting over to this album review. Pretty acclaimed record and very, very popular record. I mean, her single Espresso, which is in the middle of this record, is just, this one of the songs of the summer and whatnot, has been played all over the place and is really blown up.
It to me, and she does. I'll actually let you finish with your explanation, because that'll help.
Yeah, I mean, she's really blown up the past couple of years and whatnot, been around in headlines, this or that. It's been in the discourse and whatnot. And this album has exploded even more than from her popularity than before and whatnot. It's really gotten to the mainstream of a big pop artist and whatnot. So definitely had to give this one a whirl to give it a proper review.
This is Pop Girl Summer for sure. And
Pop Girl Summer, yeah.
Sabrina Carpenter, Chappell Rowan, Billie Eilish, Charli XCX,
Last summer.
And you know what, frankly, there have been a lot of times in our lives, frankly, where this sort of like pop ubiquity was like, a lot. But at least the music, like the product that we're getting right now, is turning out to be really good. Like a lot of these pop releases, like generally the music that I'm listening to the most, like on my own, are like, the new Billie Eilish record and the new Charli XCX record and a couple other like older things here and there. But from this year, that's just a lot of, I'm bumping that for sure. This, especially like Espresso, it reminds me a lot of when Future Nostalgia, I believe Dua Lipa's record, was out, and it kind of reminds me of not necessarily that exact like sound, because for sure it definitely is not like a callback to disco, but it's definitely that sort of summertime warm simple pop informed by sense for most of the album. Espresso actually marks an interesting point in the record that I thought was the more interesting part of the record personally, where you actually get into a more, pop country inspired or like, like acoustic guitar, like forward sort of thing. That was definitely a nice sort of breakup from a record that, while, short and sweet, let's say, given its
36 minutes long runtime, I think. It's rather, to me, a little bit repetitive.
This is the out of the pop girl summer. This is the poppiest of the pop records, right? Like Charlie XCX was definitely certified club garage bangers, right? Like it was definitely inspired by UK garage and whatnot, and you know her husband producer George Daniel was a big credit to that. You had Billie Eilish's record, which was definitely a softer record and whatnot. That was beautiful. You had Chappelle Roan's record that was actually released last year, really blew up the past couple of months. And for this was short and sweet. It's definitely more like your bog standard sounding pop, but in that regard, it's not a bad record at all. For like a pop heavy centric record, it does its job. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It picks one tone. It kind of stays at that level, so it's not anything offensive or whatnot. But it's a decent record, and by pop standards, it's not bad, because we've definitely got some like really like dog shit pop records throughout the years on Audioface where I'm like, dude, what is this? This is just, to me, like background music that's like you can put this on and most people be like, okay, whatever, right?
I'm not shitting you. This is gonna sound like the setup for a bit or a joke, but it's not. I was in Target yesterday, and I was buying some underwear. And I heard Sabrina Carpenter, and I was like, so many SKUs.
Dude, I heard. I forgot to tell you this. I heard fucking Mad Villainy. I don't remember what Mad Villain song, but I heard a Mad Villain song in Target. I forgot to tell you this. Out of nowhere in Carson, by the way.
I've heard some like Target's like whatever radio they've got on there.
I don't know unless they gave an employee the sticks. I'm like, why the hell am I hearing Mad Villain while I'm looking at so many SKUs?
Well, like it's a modern classic at this point. It's 20.
I guess so. 20 years old. Oh my god, it is 20 years old. It's a recent 04. Dirty's coming fast, bro.
Shut up.
My knees don't work anymore. It hurts.
Pause. No, so yeah, that's like, it's inoffensive, but yeah, I especially, again, pop is great. This is fine. This is definitely like middling of the pack, and compared to someone that's like, yeah, that's fine. It's like, but like, Charlie XCX and Billie Eilish, and there are people in pop right now who are managing to be in the mainstream, and they're also like pushing things a little bit forward musically. And Billie Eilish's album is so gay, and Charlie XCX's album is so coming of age, and this is just so inoffensive.
It's inoffensive.
Yeah, that's fine. That is pop music. Yeah,
and that's what it was designed to be, and that's what I wanted. I was like, okay, it's fine.
Yeah, totally.
Okay,
I'll accept that.
I'll leave it. So it's not bad, not great, not horrifying. 3.6 rockin'. For those of you,
I would even like. It's good. Like, again, I'm very happy.
It's a good pop record.
I love the spacing, and I was very happy to see that, like, for the last couple of songs, it's like, okay, I am going to try something a little bit different. I am going to experiment with it a little bit, because like that is definitely really helpful. Like with Juno and Lida Girls, like those are really great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fair play. All right, arbitrary scale. We do arbitrary scales on Audioface every week, because our review and giving it an actual letter grading score or a number score would just not do our review justice, because we want you to listen to it. So we make a actual score that does not make any sense at all. And that's the point.
Rather than give you a letter ranking system or a number ranking system, we just tell you to shove it
and just listen. So this week is the top 25 most evil people of the millennium from the 1900s. According to a New York Post poll conducted from September 30th to November 1st, 1999, I'm on NewYorkPost.com users.
And I love this. Shout out to someone named Sean on Twitter who spells it the right way.
I'm going to say, are they fake Sean or are they real Sean?
Yes. And they shared this, thing from the New York Post. So like, Rupert Murdoch, Fox News affiliated thing. Again, poll conducted on their websites. This is like very early internet. Worst people of the millennium. So for those people like my niece and nephew who think that I was born in the 1900s, a millennium is
you know, like much. That's the period of time. I actually forgot. Millennium's 100 years, or no? That's 1,000 years, right?
Oh yeah, it is a millennium. Yeah, sorry, it is 1,000 years. That's right, because that's the new millennium.
Yeah. So like, I
Century,
again,
it's stupid.
first of all, I love that most of these names are many of these names, like
from
most of these
from the
names
1900s.
are from the 1900s. No, the 20th century, right? But also, as you'll notice, again, most people of the millennium. Number 1, Adolf Hitler. Number 2, Bill Clinton. Number 3, Joseph Stalin. Number 4, Pol Pot. It's like, what? Also, Bill Clinton right in.
One of these is not like the others.
Yeah, Pol Pot.
Pol Pot goated.
Pol Pot based, actually.
Was Bill Clinton walking on skulls or what? I hope nobody's Cambodian that's watching this. Jesus Christ.
Very much in jest.
Yeah. This is a solid Fidel Castro. This is a solid Fideli. You know, Fideli.
Escampitidi.
Oh my god, they put Timothy McVeigh on there. That's great. The Turner. They should just put the Turner Diaries, just the book, not even Timothy McVeigh, just the Turner Diaries on there.
This is actually gonna be my Jack the Ripper.
Jack the Ripper.
I love the Jack the Ripper, like just a good old classic, you know, East London by the docks serial killer.
Yeah.
You know, a good old whodunit. Like I like that we made it right there. Nice and classic. You gotta love it. Next album review.
All right. Next album of the review. Next album review of the day. Up Gary's way. Bean. We have Whole Earth, spelled ERTH, by Toro Imoa. It is 13 songs, 41 minutes long. Toro Imoa, one of the longer artists that we've reviewed on Audioface. Consistently every couple of years we'll get a Toro Imoa project that we will review on here. You know, him and a couple others, Neon Indian, started my favorite fucking genre of music ever. So, but ripped to chillwave. And Toro Imoa's definitely reinvented himself several times because he's pushing 40, which makes me feel really old. And he's kind of had to keep up with the times. I mean, you had Mahal, what was that, 2 years ago, I think, which I think was a decent project. You had, I really liked Outer Peace in 2019 that came out. That was a return to form from Boo Boo in 2017, which I was like, that's just indie hipster trash, which I ended up liking after some years. But, you know,
In Return, of course, is like, you know, on a pedestal. Not In Return, sorry. What's the name of that
anything in return.
Yeah,
Anything in return, Underneath the Pine, and Cause of This. His first 3 records are just like pure indie bliss. Just like
it's a run.
It's a run, bro. Like
that's a bonus episode we gotta do.
Oh, we absolutely have to do that run, just that 3-album run, because that like influenced my music for a long time.
And it influenced a lot of people's music. Like you don't make them like this anymore. And
they don't.
It worries me a little bit in conversations I've had with other people related to the state of music and like, where are the innovators? Where are the people who are like challenging change in the genre? And even the people who, with everything being so atomized and separated, the people who have the ability to be influential, because you can be influential in like a tiny niche, but that niche never like really makes it to the top, or it takes a while for pieces of that niche to, you know, get appropriated by Drake. So like that's your thing. It's like you have to make your dumb clickbait TikTok, and you have to hope that your sound gets taken by or co-opted by Drake or Post Malone.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're lucky, Beyonce. But yeah, you aren't getting many of the people who are innovating at that high level, unfortunately. Which is that's a damn shame. Which was like why Toro Imoa has always been interesting and nice, and yeah, he's had some, you know, hits and some misses, and he's released albums of demos that are like amazing.
And some of the demos are like incredible, and it just what I'm impressed with is the range of Toro Imoa. Side
project.
Oh, listen, it's goes so Michael, that record in 2014. They don't make him like this anymore. Actually, well, he did. License release a couple of things that we reviewed on here that were actually pretty good a few years ago. So
And he
he's
had these like live shows at one point. It was like God, it was like some Photoshop command thing. It was interesting, but like he had this like they had a lot of like side projects in the Bay Area as well. So it was really nice. Yeah.
But yeah, getting back to Whole Earth, I mean, he tries to reinvent his sound on this one. It's a trap record, which is definitely
no. It's a SoundCloud rap.
SoundCloud rap record, which I wasn't expecting from Toro, and I still don't know how I feel about it because it's not when I was like getting into this. You like just the Walking in the Rain first track. I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. He's doing SoundCloud. All right, cool. Maybe it's just like a one-off track. CDR. Oh, okay. We're doing this. HOV. Oh, wait. Like we're actually doing this. So like I want to get pulled over in the HOV lane, listening to HOV just to lulz at this point. And yeah, it's a straight like emo SoundCloud rapper record, which is interesting. I still am like on the fence about it. I mean, granted, it is still new in a way. That's only 2 weeks old. And like, I think there are some decent tracks in here where like he can pull it off, but he sounds old on the record.
Yeah, like it's there's a lot of this is one of those misses, and again, like
that's what like either
yeah, he's either hit or miss. There's a very prototypical Audioface record where this is someone who experiments, and even when they miss, I will appreciate the fact that they are experimenting because
they are doing something very different.
Yeah,
I'll give him that.
I would love, but I'm not sure. You know, I'll be real. I would probably love more of something that was like, you know, another Everything in Return. But I would also note that this sounds like another Everything in Return or something that's like trying to call back too much to that. Much like, you know, SoundCloud era, like you just had to be there, right? Like Tentacion and Juice
Juice WRLD, Lil Peep, all those like there was a time the mid 2010s was definitely a time and space continuum.
And you know, like it was interesting, and we talked about that because we had a podcast like the latter part of that period, and we liked how we're starting to blend rap and rock together like really more intently, and not just like, you know, alternative is great. I love me some Gorillaz, but there's something that where you could just like make a rap song using the pieces and the motifs versus like, okay, I'm gonna give the second verse to the rapper, and then we're gonna do like it was like breaking sort of out of that formula and really kind of pushing the genre forward. What you got was a lot of mess. What you got was a lot of drug use, but you know, what you got, people still swear by. If the old heads will remember, Triple X Tentacion. People still swear by artists like that. One of my favorite episodes of audio. Early on in Audioface, we released like an episode that was just like 10 minutes on why XXXTentacion dying was good and funny. And like it was by a country mile the most downloaded episode of our podcast. I don't have the metrics. I've changed the podcast platform we use like 3 times over since then. But country mile, that was the most popular episode.
Because people are like, "Oh, he did what?" And I was like, "Yeah, this is why it's great. This is why it's hilarious."
There were a lot of people who like weren't really saying that. You had a couple of articles that were mentioning it, but the whole music world was like, oh, he was so innovative, it was so legendary, and this was in the peak of Me Too, and I was like, oh wow, this really was not serious. Like this was very much like, you know, certain people were getting caught up in it, but as for holding up these values, it's like keeping up these sort of standards, it was very quick to move on and make excuses like, oh, he was young, he didn't know any better. It's like, if you're old enough to have a kid, you're old enough to not beat your spouse or the mother of that kid or the father of that kid for that matter, or whatever.
Shit out of his spouse.
Yeah. So that's the era that Torima's calling back to in a way. Not exactly that, like the violence stuff, but it's definitely this era that's, you know, fraught with a lot of different emotions and things, and definitely produced some really interesting music. And I like Toro Iwa's take on it, because I think if this had come out in 2017 or 2018, oh, would have sucked. Absolutely. Like I also kind of think I also kind of think it sucks right now, even after a couple listens. But it would have felt a little bit more like, okay, this is someone who's trying to put a spin on this. I hate that we're all trying to, like I said back then, like we both said back then, I hate that we're trying to make SoundCloud rap this thing, as opposed to like getting some more talented, you know, producers in there and like actually trying to make a thing out of it. Well, look, Chaz Bear, very talented producer. That's someone who I would trust with it. And, you know, when it's working really well. Like, I think the Don Toliver tracks, Don Toliver, I think, as well, is one of the...
I really like the Undercurrent, I think, is the best of this record, with Porches too. Shout out Porches.
Yes, agreed.
Great artist who also released a record that we need to get to at some point.
Bubble.
The bubble is ridiculous. The bubble is growing. Pop that bubble. Pop that bubble.
Literally, Sean and I are tired.
Exactly.
We're very happy, but we're tired. We're getting a lot of
exhausted, bro. I can't wait for the Audioface show just for like a month and a half of retired, because I'm back. But now I can just listen to Smile on repeat. I'm good now.
I'm gonna do my like 1 month of no politics, because it's an election year. I'm going to be election year independently running a company, and like I'm literally going to, and I'm going to be probably preparing a move as well. Like I am going to be listening to white noise, like just nothing, no podcast, no politics, no music, just.
You know what it is? It's going to be that scene in Interstellar where it's just, you see Saturn, it's nothing, just dead silence. That's what it is, like straight up, just space.
The absence of noise. Yeah, the absence of noise. Yes, the vacuum itself. But yeah, I think like when you get, like you said, Porches and Toro Iwa and Don Toliver, all of whom, I think it's a perfect pairing, because I think all of whom have shown the ability to be really incredible on their own, but all of them have shown the, you know, accidental thing of getting stuck and kind of in their own sound a little bit and having issues kind of branching out from that. This is that exact opportunity where that collaboration helps the branching out, and it really helps. But you know, like even Don Toliver and Toro Iwa on Madonna is much more underwhelming in comparison, right? And you just get a lot of, and you know, you got Benjamin Gibbons, you got Duckworth, you got Toro Iwa doing frankly a lot more collabing that I've seen him do recently, at least. Kevin Abstract from, I believe, Brockhampton. Remember that?
Oh, Lord.
Again, you just had to be there, and that wasn't even really SoundCloud rap. But Kenny Mason, there was, and also a show about morals, Brockhampton. But I like the idea. I like that someone like Toro Iwa is taking his talents to trying this. It's just, let's think, 7 years late, and in a genre that was kind of stale even 7 or 8
7 years ago. Yeah. It's just, it's okay. It's not great, but Toro Iwa sometimes has those, and he's had 2 decent records. I think with Mahal and what was that other one? Outer Peace in 2019. I really like Outer Peace, went hard. Also a vibe right before the pandemic too. But yeah, Jesus, what a time to be alive. It's a miss, but I'll applaud him for trying to and stay relevant in this verse and whatnot. So
Ordinary Pleasure in 2019. What a time to be alive.
What a time, dude. Like
that
was Monte Carlo right there.
Yeah. that was a really
I don't push
gems
stuff. Yeah.
Laws of the Universe. So like we're gonna do an arbitrary scale in a moment. We have like news and albums to move on to, and we already hit the hour mark. God bless. But every couple of years, I'm a proud Pixel user. People know this. Every couple of years, Google puts something on the Pixel that they tout as a really cool feature. They ignore it like 5 days after launch day, and they never put on another Pixel again. So I got lucky. I got lucky with my 8. It has a thermometer on the back, and I guess I can use it for food, you know, like cooking food. It's much easier to use like a thermometer you stick in something, and it's like much more helpful. But you know, it's kind of, you know, the whole piece is the phone, which like I enjoy and I hope to keep for as long as I can, because these phones are not fucking changing and they last even longer. And I'm thinking more about, you know, environmental things and stuff like that. But I would, you know, gimmick is too harsh a word because Toriyama is a really good artist, but this feels like a gimmicky sort of record. This feels like, oh, that's novel, that's charming. There's a couple things here I'm like, oh, it's nice to have, but I don't really need it in the way that other Toriyama projects I've done. That being said, you're seeing much less experimentation and much less risk, and Toriyama has always done that, and I will always respect him for that, even if it doesn't always land. And I think I've been pretty consistent because like I said, I like Soul Trash, and that's just demos.
Soul Trash goes hard.
I go running to songs from Soul Trash, and it's just demos. All right,
and it's just like B Elijah Therapy V2 __.
Believe me, I am willing to let Bear cook when he's being experimental. This is not here. It just didn't land here. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. That's all right.
I can't catch the part. It makes me paranoid.
Let's not push to start. Let's just turn and go. I call that one hard. Arbitrary scale. We do arbitrary scales every week. Our reviews, our review. Blah blah blah. This one, top 25 most evil people of the millennium, so 1,000 years from the year 1000 to 1999. From New York Post users, peak Murdoch.
The most trusted name in news.
Absolutely. This is a solid Benito Mussolini.
Woo!
Never forget when the public like straight paraded his dead body around the streets, the real Italian style. Like when they parade a driver when they win, you know, the Italian Grand Prix for Ferrari. They did that with Benito Mussolini when he died because they hated him so much. Love it.
This is Charles Manson. Instead of like, you know, demure and mindful, this is like, yeah, it's like the demure and mindful sort of like approach to experimental albums in trap and SoundCloud rap, or, you know, methodical murder, you know, cults and shit. So, you know,
cults and shit.
Cults and shit.
You know, the one with the cults and shit. All right.
I need to find charts and shit as a you know,
yeah,
sound
please.
drop. You know, the one with the charts and shit.
Trust it. No, left. Prada.
Just those little bits. Okay, anyways.
All right, next album review of this we got Dayglow by Dayglow, self-titled. 10 songs, 34 minutes long. Dayglow, artist that I brought up on a music recommendations back in 2019. His debut record, Fuzzy Brain, I thought was an indie hit. Great record. That was a fantastic debut. You've had 2 albums since in 2021 and 2022 respectively that I thought were okay. You had Harmony House and People in Motion. I think like Harmony House was fine. People in Motion definitely felt flat a couple years ago, and I was like, oh damn, maybe he just had like one good record and that was it. He makes everything himself, so it's just him, you know, the Tame Impala experience.
Just one guy?
You know, it's just one guy, right? It's my favorite thing. Fucking people. And with self-titled, I feel like this is actually a return to form for Dayglow. I thought it wasn't flat. It sounded fresh, peppy, like definitely still tried and true indie pop, indie rock in that sound, but definitely a better sound for Dayglow. Where the other 2 records felt really flat and extremely repetitive in the way that like the production wise and whatnot. With this feels like more whimsical, like not, I don't know if he's trying really hard on the previous 2 records, which could happen. This feels like more freedom, more just like having fun making music in a way. And that's what I think makes this record just sound that bit better. It makes it sound fresher, and especially in year of 2024 where you get some really good indie bangers, you get some really indie floppers, I think, throughout the year that
stinkers.
You got some stinkers for sure this year. I mean, I look to B2B's record big time where I'm like, that was a very, very flat Sprite. Like you leave the Sprite out for too long, you take a swig, you're like, oh, this shit's nasty. That's kind of what that record is. This one's
plug-in.
Oh my god. Holy shit. That's like a visceral childhood memory. Back when I had a nose. And yeah, I ended up really enjoying this record. I was looking at some other people on posts and whatnot, and I was actually surprised to see people were agreeing with what I was thinking. I was like, "Oh, this feels like a return to form." And several people too who are big Dayglow fans were like, "Hey, finally we get a good record, where it's not flat. It doesn't feel very repetitive." A lot of people thought the same tropes and whatnot, and yeah, I think you have, the opening couple tracks definitely are really like upbeat, up-tempo tracks, solid indie rock. By the end of it, you get some really interesting sounds and whatnot. Like I really like Silver Lining, Weatherman, the second to last, third to last tracks, and the last one, Broken Bone. I really like how the album ends with it. That's to me where it's like, okay, good. We didn't end on a flat note with it. You kind of brought it really nice to a close. Overall, I enjoyed the record quite a bit and was pleasantly surprised with it. That's why I wanted to pop this on the review, because I'm like, hey, I want to sit down and listen to this record because I want to see if he still got it or not. And I was like, oh, finally, a good Dayglow project.
Yeah, I feel pretty similarly. I think looking back, Fuzzy Brain's definitely my favorite Dayglow project, the original one you showed me. If you never forget your first. And then like Harmony House, I even kind of look back at like, it didn't even really suffer the second album curse.
No, it was fine. It was like Sabrina Carpenter's record. It was inoffensive and just kind of, it was okay.
Well, yeah, I think, perfect thing. So I think there's a lot of things you accept from a first record that when you start to see repeat in a second record, a third record, etc., it starts to get like, okay, I got to point this out. Where, yeah, Fuzzy Brain sort of feels like it sort of stays at a certain tempo and pace. Not totally. You have some slower songs, but the sound of Dayglow is very much like all the dials are on at 100. Like some, not really the 1975, but like I remember pointing out that like, especially in Brief Inquiry of Online Relationships, they do an alternative rock version of the Bliss Point thing that is overdone, or like was overdone in like 2018 or so when we were talking about this, in electronic music, where it was just like a certain build up drop sort of template combined with a sound template as well of certain sounds you're using and all that. It felt like usually an artist may like have certain things in their repertoire, like a lot of Daft Punk until really like Random Access Memories and maybe Tron there's a template to this. We have a 4/4 template. We have like certain sounds we're using. We have certain machines we're using, and we're pretty much sticking to that, right? And you still got, because not every song had the tempo of like a Face to Face or a Da Funk, right? Like you got a lot of range and difference within that. And you can do that in a lot of genres. And if you can do that in electronic, you could definitely do that in a lot of genres. Even the Sabrina Carpenter record we just talked about, it has that flip after Espresso where you get kind of a different tempo and sort of a different selection of all of the Sabrina Carpenter dials in different places. So it's like a little bit of a respite from the otherwise inoffensive, here's the selection of songs thing. This Dayglow record is a better selection of songs sort of thing to me, right? Where it has that, I still think it suffers from needing to have a little bit more of Dayglow changing the dials that he's playing with a little bit.
Which you did very well on the first record, which you were still chasing that. You never forget your first. We're still chasing that high.
Yeah. And I think he's got it in him, but I definitely felt the sort of like that. Again, fatigue feels like even a strong word. Am I being too nice now? But like, I felt that by getting to like Nothing Ever Does, where I'm like, okay, this is a very peppy, high energy, like moderate energetic, let's say, record that he's got going. And, it's good. It sounds great. He's like hitting on everything, but it's, 6 songs of it. The songs are all roughly like 3 minutes long. There's one 4-minute long one. So, and you're already well within the record. It's like 20 minutes long. In this attention span era, and since I'm using TikTok for 2 people on the show, I was just feeling like my TikTok's so wild. But like, and it's just like all Sean's interests and like none of my interest. I'm like, what's going on here? But I wanted to see a little bit more of that variety, and maybe like sitting with it more. I'll hear it, some of those nuances, because I haven't sat with like other than Fuzzy Brain, I haven't come back to Harmony House or People in Motion that much. Just kind of like remember how I felt about them. But comparing Dayglow and the self-titled and Fuzzy Brain back to each other, I think I might get some like more depth and understanding, even more than I already have right now, which is that this is sort of a return to form in that it's a record that lands well, but I still think he's suffering from the things that I saw from Fuzzy Brain. And I want to just make sure, like, okay, you're an artist who can change things around a little bit too, while still being kind of like good in yourself. Even Biba Doobie kind of is like, was doing a lot of change and is now kind of the thing we were talking about earlier has gotten to this sort of like stasis point where the past couple of records have all sounded like they're all making the same experiments, right? And we know that she can do all these different things well, but the experimentation doesn't really feel like it's necessarily there. This feels, I want to see a little bit more, but overall, pleasurable.
Yeah.
Liked. Didn't overstay its welcome.
No, it didn't. And I definitely think like that's what separates Fuzzy Brain right from the rest of his records. Is Fuzzy Brain definitely has, you know, different knobs on the switches and whatnot, and I wish you definitely had more of that on this record, but I definitely feel like it's a return to form in the way where it doesn't sound like it's trying too hard. It doesn't sound like it's forced in a way like the other two records, especially his last record. I felt like that one was really just fell flat. And this one has been definitely fell flat. It's not perfect, not my favorite, but it's definitely okay, cool. So I still have some stuff from Dayglow that's decent. So now interesting to hear kind of how that does, maybe reboost confidence, and then we can get back to the form even of Fuzzy Brain a couple of years ago. So overall, not bad.
Yeah. Great job. you know what? I was watching, I realized where Bishop Nehru got the sample for Slap Clap thing. The Great Job piece. The intro for Tim and Eric, awesome show, great job. It's just that piece.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, very casual. Sorry, getting like one more song from here that I liked. Weatherman, to be sure. Arbitrary Scale.
Yeah, Weatherman goes hard. Arbitrary Scale. We do Arbitrary Scales every week's our review. Is our review and giving it a letter grade or ranking doesn't make sense. So this week is the top 25 most evil people of the millennium by the New York Post in 1999. I sounded like Jeremy Clarkson presenting something.
Too soon.
Too soon, man. Rip. So watching James May's own YouTube channel driving a Cybertruck was hilarious. Him like measuring up the boards to see if it was perfectly aligned or not. With the metal ruler is the most James May thing ever, and I applaud him for it.
You don't make them like that anymore.
They don't, and it makes me sad. This is absolutely Saddam. 100%, 1000%, absolutely. My favorite meme ever of Saddam hiding in his little hut. Love it.
Do we have this is gonna be my Ted Bundy.
Ted Bundy's a good one. You mean Ted Cruz?
Which one? We went through 3 albums really fast. Usually we do 3. We're gonna have 4, but I want to check on comments really fast because there had been a few. Pinkerbell said, "I hate Taylor Swift." So the guy who tweeted that is trying to be president. Yeah, like politics aside, don't yuck people's yum when you're trying to get their vote, right? Like generally you're just like, oh, you either got 2 reactions: the robotic Ron DeSantis or JD Vance reaction of, oh, hello, what's your name? Cool. This is a donut shop. What kind of donuts do you have? Okay. That's just like, you want to be someone like Tim Walz, who when he goes in a donut shop, like, okay, so what are the donuts that you like here? Oh, apple maple. That's my favorite. Over back in Minnesota, we have something similar. Oh, these are all just so great. Yeah, you gotta show that you like the things that other people like. That's why people pander to like sports teams whenever they're speaking in a certain place. Taylor Swift is how big, Sean? Like, how many people like Taylor Swift? She's not really indie.
I think like 3. I think like 3 people like her.
Yeah. It's a the numbers are close. the numbers are really close. Those 3 people could really make the difference in the election cycle. Whether it's 3 people or 30 million people, or she just had the biggest record-breaking arena-filling tour ever, and you're alienating her fan base of checks notes suburban women who are like crucial like swing voters. Great job. Just love it. Great job. My boyfriend Mayor agreeing that on this ranking that Bill Clinton is appropriately ranked. Mind you, this is 1999. So Adolf Hitler, blowjob guy. Joseph Stalin, Pol Pot. This is right-wing media, baby. I love it.
Murdoch, baby. Rupert at his finest.
If only they knew 16 years later the guy they'd be supporting. Also, Pinko the Bear was in the chat. Hi, good to see you. He was DJing after the stream, and we like rated him on Power Report, and it was really nice. It was listening to house music while working until 3 a.m. That rocked.
That's kind of sick.
Yes, Twitch is nice for stuff like that. All right, and let us get into the last album now.
Oh, wow, all right, last album on the views of the day, serving up Gary's Way Bean. We have Cascade by Floating Points, 9 songs, 57 minutes long. You're welcome. Yeah, electronic music album, actual album. Yeah,
Floating Points delivers usually, right?
I mean, to be fair, yeah. I mean, you had Crush in 2019. You had, I think there was, it was Crush because that was
it was just Crush. Like, there was like a special project Promises in 2021 that we like mentioned, but it's like it's a.
I don't even remember really listening about it, but I know because it was but. Crush, definitely remember that one. That one's definitely like a in-your-face kind of record where it's just like blaring, just blah.
Can I laugh at something with you?
Yeah,
just some inside baseball. There's 2 versions of Late Night Tales Floating Points on Spotify. One is Floating Points Late Night Tales, which is like a compilation album, and the second one is Late Night Tales Floating Points Apple Music version excluding Glowin'. On Spotify. I just don't get a lot of the categorization of these things. So
that's funny.
No, yeah. I mean, so I'll put it like this. Crush I liked, but in comparison, Floating Points definitely has a sound and a style and an approach.
Yeah.
Very, kind of like bloopy and kind of like deep. This is a bloopy. This is a lot more of an energetic record, in my opinion. I felt like, and not in like a bad way, it's just an observation. Crush definitely had a lot more moments where there were lulls, the drums were just sort of like removed, the whole tempo and things, like the pace was just a little bit slower. This feels like a little bit, even the slower moments have a little bit of a tempo. They have some like BPMs, like they're moving a little bit faster. And you have really nice space for these songs to breathe. You have some 6-minute tracks, some 7-minute tracks, like a 9-minute track.
Yeah, he doesn't care. Like that's what I like about Cascade so much is this is an electronic music record where it's just it plays out like an album, even an album. Some of the tracks are super long. They take a long time to develop, but he doesn't care because he's like, I want to make like a house record that it stands out on its own in 2024, and that's kind of what he made. Sticking to his sound, the beep boops, the robot video game beats, but in a way that is inoffensive, right? I mean, even like, right, the first thing I heard was the vocoder club mix randomly. I don't remember what I was listening to, maybe MBE or something, where I heard this like late at night, and I'm like, oh, this goes hard, and I found this, and then I realized that he was making a record. And then when the record came out, I heard a lot of people like praising it and stuff. Okay, all right, let me check out the whole thing. I mean, I remember Crush and let's see what happens. And I go, oh, we're cooking. We got a good EDM record in 2024. I am exhausted. I am Joey Diaz bucket method. I am just, I love it.
Fuck off.
Granted,
Yo, fuck off.
Oh God, they don't make him like this anymore. I mean,
I'm very happy.
I'm extremely happy. Granted, I do like house, but I'm very, very picky in the stuff that I like in that. But you have some like even ambient tracks in here, like Octillo, that nearly 9-minute piece is like feels like you're floating in space with it. It's like ambient for like goddamn 6 minutes nearly. And then this beautiful trippy beat comes in at the end of it, and you're just like blown away with like how long it takes to develop to get to that point. And that to me is proper, really well thought out electronic music. It's long, it's not going to be for everybody and stuff in that regard.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
but it's not meant for that. It's meant to sound like, hey, I want a house record that has some ideas and stuff. Ideas. I can never say ideas normally for the rest of my life. Thanks, Dave Rubin. And
Thanks, Michael Brooks.
Yeah, extreme. Thanks, Michael Brooks. Yeah, Dave Rubin is ripping off my impression of him.
But yeah, like I really I love this. Right, I like the Acotillo, whatever. Is definitely a high point of the record. But yeah, I just like the way it begins with vocoder. It's not going to be for everyone. For a lot of people, it's going to be very repetitive and sort of slow, even. But I'm going to be, working and doing laundry to this and other music like that tonight, because like I'm pretty. I don't know. I'm in the midst of the politics season, but very clearly, based on my analysis of things, like not a lot of things are going to happen between now and election day. Like this is the second. It's the second time Donald Trump has been shot at on a weekend in the past like 2 months during an election cycle, and like I'm already thinking about I need to go to Home Depot and buy a new lever for my toilet. Like I don't care. No one cares really. And once again, the shooter was a white moderate.
I mean, always
the radical center.
The radical centrists.
No. Actually, I just gotta say this really quickly. He voted Trump in 2016. He's a big supporter of Tulsi Gabbard and Nimrata Nikki Haley and Vivek Ramaswamy.
Love it. I love it.
The radical center. America's so smart. Just the best and the brightest. But sorry, my last word on this. So yeah, I really like the energetic stuff that was like in the beginning of your like Key 103 and Birth 4000, and yeah, it's really great music to kind of like listen to and bloop and bop to, and focus and get things done too. So it's a great, and I think I even am starting to like it. It's gonna take time because it's a really meaty album, but I might end up liking it more than Crush, which is saying something. Electronic music, we may be starting to have a little bit of that renaissance we've been waiting for, where like it starts.
We've been waiting for this for nearly a goddamn decade.
Yeah, Daft Punk was just like so long, and thanks for all the fish. You're on your own now.
Yeah, like they made Random Access Memories, and they made Touch like the best song ever, and they just be like, au revoir. And
they're still eating off of like just releasing like, okay, here's a version without the drums. here's a version without the bass. Here's a version that's like chopped and screwed. Random Access Memories chopped and screwed to be wild. We've come to do you
think you lose yourself to dance chopped up? That would go hard.
Lose yourself.
Wow,
Just like
so hard.
Rolling through the street with a white styrofoam cup, listen to Random Access Memories chopped and screwed without the drum.
No, bro, even better. Like the beginning of Touch, where they use it on the Martineau, it's just that like looped. Just listen to that with just sipping on some lean, walking through the streets. That right there's a vibe.
Can I also just say, like, before we go into the arbitrary scale, 3-hour podcast, Dan, but Manchester, best city on earth. October 25th, Disclosure presents Friends and Family. So Disclosure, Floating Points, EMOS.
Manchester.
Oh God.
On the 12th day, God created Manchester.
It's just God's city, truly. When it was 112 degrees here, it was 64 degrees and light rain.
God's plan.
God City. Okay, arbitrary scale. We do arbitrary scales every week on Audioface because our review is our review. Rather than tell you a letter ranking system or a number ranking system, we will tell you how we felt using a scale that we change every single week. This week it is the Rupert Murdoch's New York Post 1999 most evil people of the last 1,000 years, with heavy weights towards the 20th century, which is a really pessimistic view of the 20th century. Speaking of really pessimistic view, I'm going to rank Floating Points as Pol Pot.
Ooh.
Again, I'm sorry to my Cambodian friends, but the man was efficient.
Ooh.
Hitler was nowhere near as efficient as Pol Pot.
So I am my podcast absolutely Floating Points gets my write-in of Mr. Ronald Reagan.
There we go. Where does Ronald Reagan go if you get to stop the count, stop the steal?
Shit, where does Ron go? Fuck.
No, and I guess that means Jack the Ripper gets bumped off the list because I know he's not.
Jack the Ripper gets bumped off. So does Muammar Gaddafi because first off,
I know I saw Gaddafi on here,
but first off, they spelt it wrong, and second off, I thought it was with I was pretty sure, but I could be.
There's a couple different. There's like it's a translation, so there's a lot of different spellings that are off. Like,
but I'd absolutely
Soleimani.
I mean, I'd absolutely put Nixon in there too. So
I would. I mean, again, I don't think. I mean, New York Post, so of course, but I don't think they really understood the question fully.
Yeah,
this
millennium,
is 1,000 years.
Like, you know how many crusades you got in there, bro?
I mean, it's the New York Post audience, so they're like for the Crusades. So like, it doesn't matter.
They're like, the Muslims are bad. They're back. Oh, you're one of those.
Reading the New York Post and reading the NewYorkPost.com with Drudge Report in another window, using my Netscape browser on Windows 98 on October 5th, 1999, complaining about the Moors invading the country.
Oh no!
It's like the least racist New York Post reader.
Definitely has the little pipe screensaver too. Like we're peak 90s, baby.
Yeah, you know this person doesn't have one of those colorful Macs. No, this is a
absolute PC user.
This is the original Gateway pundit, if you know what I mean.
Oh hell yeah, bro! I broke my CD-ROM on our Gateway when I was like 5. Dad gave me shit for years.
With great. The cows.
Cows, yes. The Gateway logo with a little cow print on it. Real ones know.
Yeah,
I just dated us.
Hey Jamie, can you let me know? Actually, you're hosting, so I should do this. But I got to figure out who bought Compaq because I remember
HP.
Oh Jesus! Oh, that's right. Oh,
you want to know why the reason why I know that? Because of my favorite ever Formula 1 cars is FW25 is HP sponsorship, the Williams. They were the year before that it was Compaq.
Life comes at you fast.
2002, 2003, baby. Damn,
okay.
This anymore. All right.
Quick hits. And
this is definitely debauchery corner. This is amazing. This is dude.
So let me tell you, we're gonna start in a little light. There's gonna be some debauchery, some fun stuff. We have all of the albums we have to look forward to over the next month and in the next year. And then we go into super deluxe debauchery to end the podcast. So let's go.
All right, so not to be outdone by one Blur, Oasis, the Gallagher brothers somehow stopped trying to kill each other for 2 seconds and are doing a reunion tour right now, which tickets were impossible to get unless you
at time of recording.
Small fortune. At time of recording, they're still touring. They will probably fight each other in the next week, and I'm all here for it.
Yeah, there have been people who, especially in Manchester, who have been complaining about how hotels that used to be, dirt cheap, because at the end of the day it's Manchester, right? And because Oasis is playing, it's like imagine getting a Motel 6 room for Beverly Hills hotel prices. Like it's just nuts. People are really mad about it. You're getting price gouging there, not necessarily to the exact level as you get in America, because it's the the Wild Wild West out here. But we gotta do a bonus episode on Will Smith rap era.
Oh my god. Oh,
Wild
Lord,
Wild
no.
West.
That
But
was a time.
it was a summertime, a summertime. Anyways, yeah, people are really like, Oasis Fever is really hitting England. It's really nice for me to see
Hilarious.
as a British person from Manchester. Although I was Team Blur at the time.
Of course.
Mostly because of Gorillaz, but what are you gonna do there? Like, if until one of the Gallaghers shits out an animated band, which Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds, close but no cigar, and Liam Gallagher's Low Blowing Slurs, this is not gonna cut it. But yeah, until then, that's fine. Sean, can you explain first of all what you did to Chester Bennington and why his son is so upset, and then second of all, who God, we're on here. Who is Emily Armstrong, their new vocalist?
Okay, so Linkin Park came out of the dead and decided to that deserves a whoa. And decided to reunite with a new lead singer because Chester Bennington died in 2017 from suicide. My favorite part is they brought her back. They brought her to the band during National Suicide Prevention Month. So the irony of that. Oops. And they're doing a little tour and stuff. So Emily Armstrong is interesting character. I know she had founded a rock band. I don't remember the name of it, but
Dead Sarah.
Dead Sarah. There you go. Thank you. It's Dead something, but I didn't want to speak on the Dead Ron for the 15,000th time on Audioface. And
before the
some
bodies
people
are even cold.
Always.
You buy
always.
MetLife Life Insurance.
Meant to buy New York Life. And some fans, it's mixed right now. I mean, apparently she's doing a pretty good job on tour and whatnot. There's a lot of people who aren't happy with it. They're like, it's Chester Bennington's voice, this or that, which I understand. I mean,
Chester Bennington's son went
is
unloaded.
Like ham.
Jamie had said that also there's some, I don't know if you're like touching your mic a little bit, but whatever's like it's picking up on it.
Oh, that's weird.
Thing. Okay. Yeah. But the yeah, he had said he posted like a bunch of like Instagram stories saying that the Linkin Park co-founder had, quote, quietly erased my father's life and legacy in real time during International Suicide Prevention Month. Whoa. He also noted for posterity that Armstrong has ties to the Church of Scientology, as well as Danny Masterson, who was convicted of R-wording 2 women and was sentenced to 30 years to life in prison in 2023.
Yeah, I know she came out and said, hey, like I went to a trial and then actually saw everything and then was like, oh shit.
Yeah, it was basically like you're supposed to give witness statements if someone's like on the stand. It's like, character statements rather, not witness statements. It's like, okay, well, this person's like on the stand for something, but they're generally a really good person. Basically, it's like making the case that they had a bad day, they made like one mistake, you should like, have them with a lighter sentence.
Until she saw everything, and then she goes, "Whoa, never mind." Reverse
raping 2
Jimmy.
Women. Yeah, smacky schmiggle helicopter that. She did rescind the gloaty, if you will.
Literally straight up rescinded. Like no. Never mind. So she's
Mars Volta singer. This runs deep. Mars Volta singer Cedric Bixler Zavala and his wife Chrissy, one of several women who accused Masterson of sexual assault, spoke out against Armstrong, and had shared earlier a post that he had written on his page that said, "Do you know about your friend Danny Masterson, your rapist friend? You know they got your mans. You know they got your mans on sex assault charges." That TikTok meme.
Favorite
But
thing.
yeah, Audioface Romans will know. But it's really, there's definitely a lot there. There's like a lot of character things, and Jamie Bennington is saying there's a lot that Linkin Park needs to address with their fan base to kind of really settle here, because a lot is very much unsettled, and I can definitely see that. Also with this, you're just like, how do I describe this? Like, it's, I don't know. Linkin Park have been around since 2000. They're going to be touring right now, and they've been a band that's around for a while. Bands usually lose their members, and there's an open question. There's an open question. There's an open question whether a band like Linkin Park like this should even be like open and touring right now. So
I don't think I don't think so. But
I'm not sure like what more they have to like add to.
No, nothing to me. But yeah. So there's that. Macklemore just going hard in the paint. Straight cancels the Dubai show, their Dubai shows over the Sudan war. Homie's doing his homework.
No. Homie's listening to them power reports. He's got that Democracy Now! Power report, Electronic Intifada. Like, he's
Majority Report. He's got everything, bro. Like he's lived up.
Dude, this is like Tom Hartman on one side, Hassan Stream on the other. Like, this guy's, it's like no.
Tariq Ali in the other ear.
Well, he already did his like, I'm doing a big show of support, harder than most musicians, other than maybe Bam, who like has gone against the situation going on in Palestine. More on that in a moment. Godspeed You, Black Emperor, maybe giving them a run for their money. But, it's not a competition. It's good that, musicians are using their platforms to raise awareness and heighten the importance of a lot of these issues. But a lot of people are talking about Palestine, luckily, and I hope people continue to talk about it as it continues to be an atrocity.
Don't stop.
He skipped over that and went to Sudan, which is the thing that a lot of people were like, okay, well, people are talking about Palestine or, the presidency or whatever, Ukraine or where else is going on. What about this thing going on in Sudan? It's like, Macklemore's got you.
Macklemore's like, oh, dude, we've been known about it. We've been known about Palestine. We were at one of them FDS discussions and we heard Sean talk about it 7-8 years ago. He's like, well, we on that Sudan Lebanon crisis now. That's what we're doing.
You're gonna see Macklemore in like Bangladesh soon.
You're gonna see him in Myanmar, bro. You're gonna see him in fucking Burma.
Anywhere you have like a recent like uprising or whatever, or, like people fighting for freedom or whatever, like you're gonna see Macklemore right there too. Anywhere in the global south. Generally good for him. Because I think people had said in the past, like, oh, he's played these places in the past before, and I'm like, dude, if you're a musician and you learn. And you're like, I don't hold a musician to the same standards of a politician. And I've said this many times in the show before. So like, If they get more information and they learn and decide not to do something, then that'll be great. Looking at you, Tom York and Radiohead.
Yeah, probably the only knock I will ever give Radiohead and the boys. So yeah, fair play.
Speaking of Radiohead and the boys,
and sushi with the boys.
So this is just looking at the album release schedule is what has Sean and I very exhausted.
So October, I'm tired. I'm exhausted. We still have the bubble. We have a lot of records on the bubble. And then October-ish, we get the Smile cutouts.
2 Smile albums in 1 year.
Holy shit. It's become the Frown. Apparently Colin
Scream.
This has literally become the Scream. Scream, my favorite DJ. And then apparently out of the blue, Colin Greenwood just goes, oh yeah, all the Radiohead members just met up in London like 2 months ago, just playing the hits.
When Radiohead plays the hits, sometimes they might be improvising here or there, and a little tune, a little idea,
a little weird, a little robot video game beats come out. I don't know,
a little twinkle in Johnny Greenwood's eye,
a little string arrangement here, a little boop boop pops here, a little Tom Danson and wailing here.
There's reason to believe we get the last hurrah from Radiohead that we thought the Smile would be, but hey,
if that happens, God bless, and I'm never coming back here.
This is the direct opposite of Linkin Park, where like, I would also say, like, there isn't too much of a reason for Radiohead to
No.
come back, but if they
I
are
honestly
coming
don't.
back, there's so much that they all individually and in different permutations and combinations of working together, they've created interesting music in so many different genres that, yeah, I think it's a net benefit, even if it's just like a little bit of, Sean and I and even older old heads sort of like, Gen X and millennial love for it. Like, I think it's going to be
Bam.
I think that's, I think it's going to be a good project if they do end up coming out with something. And I really hope they do. And if they don't, we have 2 Smile records.
And I'm A-okay with that. We have the best album title ever for this
Yeah, so
year.
you
Go ahead.
Macklemore released the whole like the whole like Free Palestine stuff, and he's doing his canceling shows in Sudan, and then Godspeed Emperor are like, King Me. Sean, what's the name of this album?
Their album title is no title as of 13th February 2024, 2,800 and 28,340 dead. I hope they update it to like as of September 6th.
Yeah, like
35,000 dead.
Of course, there are 40,000 dead minimum.
Minimum.
This is referencing the ongoing siege since October 7th in Palestine, in the West Bank. It's now bleeding out to Lebanon, and all Central Asia is getting a foot up in that. So it's wow. Again, no title, and then just mentioning the death count, which by all professional understandings is an undercount, is mad bold. Like very, very bold, and I appreciate that sort of behavior. It's like really needed.
You have you have next week. You have the Voids next week.
Oh wow!
All before you. Yeah, you forgot to put that one in there. You have Caribou's Honey. And then CB8, you got D'Angelo and the Horrors.
The Horrors is, for folks who don't know, usually we pick 3 albums, one that's like really popular, one that's an artist we like kind of have heard of and they're just releasing something else we haven't like wanted to like check in on them, and then one like curveball thing just like really amazing and really good. And not even was really amazing and really good, but it's like, a curveball thing that is off the beaten path, usually from a band we haven't heard from before or haven't heard from in a minute, right? And yeah, we hadn't heard of the Horrors before. We play this, and it's just like still one of the best albums we've ever reviewed on the show, especially the best surprises too.
It was the best surprise and hands down album of the year in 2017. That was just blew. It blew. It was even better than Damn in 2017. That's how good of a record the 5
no one's
from
talking
the Horrors
about it.
was.
No one's talking about it.
No one's talking about it except like maybe a couple fucking real hipsters out there. And
they released some EP scents that are like really, really interesting and good as well in an evolution, but we might be getting 6.
We might be getting 6. And we've literally been like saying this for the whole year. All we need is a Horrors project and we're happy. And literally like maybe 2-3 weeks ago, Dana sends me a thing that they did a live show and they're like, hey, we're making new music. And we're like,
series of live shows in Manchester.
God City, on the 12th day, God made Manchester.
Yeah, it's so. First of all, what a great music town. Second of all, I love it. I love it. This is so good. And there's gonna be even more good music coming out. I didn't even put Kendrick Lamar over here, because he's definitely gonna be releasing. Of course, Drake's gonna be a really great. I'm kidding. But there's so many surprise projects. I think there's still room for someone in hip hop or rap to do something really interesting and surprising and innovative this year or early next year. Not holding my bets on it, but it's possible. And there's any number of pop or like really big established artists who could just like do a surprise pop out album release, and they'll be really excited to see that. But we're already up to the gills in new albums, so we're not asking for anything more. In fact, if anything, if you have a good album you'd like to release, less for your own sanity and more for ours, push it back. Okay, let's get into this degeneracy. First of all,
G-Gen corner.
Yes. Terrace Martin, boxer, was seen at the UFC 306, and there's something wrong with this image here. In fact, this image and the lower third associated with it, that looks to be the doing of the evil 4-letter. If I understand my no, I actually don't know that for sure, so I won't say. But it looks a little bit like an ESPN thing to me. I'm sure UFC runs it, and even though Crawford took it well, he posted "Damn Kendrick Lamar" as a response. Apparently no one's really sure about like what happened or to whatever who like made that mistake. Clearly it was a mistake. This happens all the time with white people who think black people all look the same. Speaking of, Dana White said, quote, "He did kind of look like Kendrick Lamar though. Let's not fuck around." Case in point. Next, we take you to Jane's Addiction, where Perry Farrell and Perry Farrell and Dave Navarro were in a little bit of a, what we call this, in true memorial of Top Gear and the Grand Tour, a fracas.
A fracas. They're in a fracas. They're doing like a whole reunion tour, much like Oasis, and they beat Oasis to the punch, literally.
I love that. Like, this is the undercard for a race. It's like, this is the opening fight, but the main event.
This is the opening act. The opening fight is Jane's Addiction. Perry Farrell punching Dave Navarro in the face and all that jazz, like coked out of his mind or drunk and all that jazz.
This is how we save music, Sean. We just need old artists that have like broken up to get back together and do residencies in Las Vegas where they're performing like their like sets in a ring. It's just like back to back to you. But just they're doing back to back sets, and we'll see who wins night to night. They pay him a lot of money, but celebrity cage match. So Perry Farrell's wife wrote on Instagram Saturday morning that her husband was upset about the band's sound levels drowning out his vocal. And that led to his assault on a seemingly
that led to him just like literally straight up like just
Chris William
right hook.
Chris William at Variety. That's journalism right there. That's exactly how a sentence is written. That's exactly how you do it. Her husband was upset about the band's sound levels drowning out his vocals, and that led to his assault on seemingly unsuspecting guitarist Dave Navarro. Eddie has complimentary words for how coolly Navarro handled the situation. On the other hand, she lays into bassist Eric Avery for cheap shots, quote unquote, and allegedly putting the singer into a headlock and punching him 3 times. Something that wasn't clear from the widely disseminated fan video of the onstage altercation. If there's anything I've known from covering live fan footage on Audioface and altercations of said live fan footage on Audioface, if there were more altercations, we would have video of it. So, and if you are the one who is like lashing out and attacking, and someone else has to like get rough for you to restrain you, hey man, them's the rules of my Las Vegas cage match. Sorry. This is great. Next, do you want to go to? Oh yeah, so this is just a really quick one. I will play this video of Lil Pump here.
Oh Lord.
Really quickly advertising a service. Wait, where's this? Oh, I muted Instagram smartly. There we go.
And it really got me pissed the fuck off. Some fucking stupid retarded lib just bet $1.8 million for fucking Kamala Harris to win on Polymarket. Who the fuck would vote for Kamala Harris? And who the fuck would he?
Okay, so the only reason I'm showing you Lil Pump in his shilling gold era because he's working for this like crypto company called Polymarket, where you basically like use crypto to do political betting and trades. Lil Pump is doing this fake reaction thing. Academics has posted it, which is just a fake ad. The only thing I'll notice is that if you've watched the Young Turks recently, you'll notice that Jenk starts the show by saying live from the Polymarket studios in Los Angeles, California, implying that he's sold the naming rights to the same shady crypto advertising, not advertising, but crypto betting, politics betting company that has faced regulatory issues. That Jenk and Lil Pump are advertising the same thing. Things that make you go,
One of these is not like the other.
Just throwing it out there, all right? And now we have the birth corner. So
sweet baby Jesus. We got the child support corner.
Can you sponsored by so yeah, Dave Grohl. What are we doing here? What are we doing?
Okay.
Oh my God. This is awesome. This is getting better and better and better. Yes. Okay, go on.
Let me read
Can I read the Hindustan Times?
Oh yeah.
Coverage of this. Sorry. So David Grohl's secret romance with quote unquote alt porn goddess questioned amid cheating scandal and welcoming baby.
First off,
it's like a Daily Mail for India. I love it.
Dude, everything is just, this whole thing is great. I'm gonna read you his statement first. Just what started it off. This is beautiful. This isn't TV. This is HBO. So, Dave Grohl, I recently became the father of a new baby daughter born outside of my marriage. I plan to be a loving, supportive parent to her. I love my wife and my children, and I am doing everything I can to regain their trust and earn their forgiveness. We're grateful for your consideration toward all the children involved as we move forward together. Dave.
It's someone said it was like all the candor and announcement of NFL team announcing a trade.
We have traded the rights of Deion Sanders.
We appreciate the 3 years that he has given the organization, and we wish him well with the Dolphins. You are hiding a child.
You're hiding. Dear Dave Grohl.
Meet the Grohls.
Meet the Grohls. Oh no!
The report cited Nielsen's former roommate. Annalise Nielsen is the name of this, as described by the Hindustan Times, a Los Angeles hipster who ran a porn website. Who among us? Reports suggest he visited her shared house and generously paid her bills. Tyler Ammons, who witnessed them getting cozy in 2018. Ammons chose to leave the room, finding it, quote, very weird to see them, quote, very close on the couch. He recalled, quote, feeling very uncomfortable, end quote, knowing that Grohl had family and children. So, yeah, that's a little awkward. We now move on to Cardi B, who is welcomed her third child into the world. God bless. You'll remember that they're supposed to be like in a divorce sort of thing right now, Offset and Cardi B. Mm-hmm. So that's a really interesting thing. Of course, Offset's there. He's like, okay, child support number 3. How many shitty rap albums am I gonna have to sell to like do this?
How am I gonna have to do this again? And Cardi B, don't take him back for the 15th time, or else I might have to end the podcast.
I describe them as like Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck, but for black people. They just like keep getting back together and like having more kids, despite very clearly hating each other.
Yeah, pretty much. And yeah, but I will give it, I don't know what their goddamn kids' names, nor do I care, but one of them has a Sidney Crosby Penguins alternate jersey on, and I'm here for it. Also, the Penguins did comment on their post saying congratulations with the penguin emoji, and I fucking died when I saw that.
That's awesome. I adapted the joke from Christina, to be fair. The Jen Affleck, Ben Lopez. The Jen Affleck, Ben Lopez. Well, we always like Audioface for fun, though. Time.
So we were like,
Sean, we cannot say exactly what we said about the story in the group chat. But yeah, Sean, we always like to end Audioface to a fun note. And
so there's a Louisville woman who was arrested after she said Kanye West telegraphically told her to steal a car.
To be fair, she was arrested, and when she was asked, like, oh well, like, why did you steal this car and, like, leave a, I think she like left a kid inside. Yes.
Yeah.
When asked, the response was Kanye West telepathically told. Sorry, let me be clear. Kanye West, quote, telegraphically told her to steal the car. So for those of you who need to remember what ESPN is, no. That's a deep cut joke. Telepathically is when you're communicating with your brain. Telegraph is that like old machine with the wires where you like have to like enter in like spaces and dashes in order to communicate words, like
Morse
SOS.
code.
Yes, like Morse code. Like World War I. The Germans have reached the Eastern Front. Stop.
Kanye West, stop. Told me to steal a car. Stop.
Kanye West told me to take this car with the child seat in it. Stop.
Kanye West then told me to vote for him in the next presidential election. Stop.
Slavery was a choice. Stop.
Slavery, stop. Sounds like a choice to me. Stop.
I sometimes I'm really mad that we don't have like a better educational system in this country, but it's making the criminals like so good.
But at the same time, it's so great. It's so great.
It's making the criminals really easy to catch. That I can live with.
All right. Thank you for listening to Audioface. This has been a show. This has been Audioface.show for everything that you need.
You got 2 hours of this, bitch. You're welcome.
You got the Audioface experience. We made up for our 3-week absence. We got the Voids next week, which I'm really excited about. And
oh, what? Something happened with your mic, I think.
Really?
Oh no, I think it was just the music playing at the same time. But yeah, you're
maybe
super going
okay. Oh well, okay.
Yeah, well, I'll stop there. But anyways, the Voids are coming out next week, and we have a lot of stuff on the bubble that's gonna be really good.
And then Woptober.
Oh God, Drake, ball's in your court, buddy.
I'm exhausted. I'm upset.
Okay, this has been Audioface. Thank you very much for listening and watching. Audioface.show for all the links. Thank you also earlier on Twitch. Joel Lewis was rated with viewers. Thank you very much for doing that.
Nice.
And Guy Doer, thank you for following. Really appreciate it. Nice little fall action on Twitch right now. Have a good week, everyone watching, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.
Bye-bye.